agreements, and so on. We should actually become the real value-added subject matter experts, where our expertise is right at the design, the thought, the bright idea, the broker, if you will, the middleware, if you want an IT term, rather than actually be a department, because we spend all our time defending it, and eventually people will run around us and ignore us.
Absolutely. Matthew, you led forward there.
Yeah, my obviously, you guys are CIOs, I'm a CTO, so we have a slightly different perspective on things. Insofar as someone, we always, from outside in, looking in, the CIO I think has a tricky job, because yes, you've got the marketing guy running off, or the sales guy, saying, I've got Salesforce, right? It works brilliantly, I've done everything I ever wanted it to do. And no, it doesn't talk to any of the other systems we have in the company, because the marketing guy's gone off and done something else, and he's gone to something else. And I think we always see someone, from our perspective, we always like to try and find the one person, and if it is the broker, or how you want to view it, is the architect of how this, because what you're dealing with is like corporate data, right? If you think about it in that regard, whether it's the customer through to your order to cash process or something, it's all got to, if you are going to go down, if you're talking about digital, if you're talking about this, digital can be just another euphemism for automation, for electronic handling, or whatever you like. But essentially, there has to be some contiguous relationship that makes sense between all these different bits. And so I think the role of the CIO is got to be the coordinator, the voice that says, hang on guys, I know you love Salesforce, and I know you love Pardot, and I know you love whatever it is, payroll.com, whatever the finance guys want to do. But that's over there, that's over there, that's over there, because something has got to make this all kind of bring improvement as a whole, because we are one business as opposed to a collection of
and I can, it's just to say, because I'm in similar positions, I disagree with your point that people should run off and do their own thing, because effectively what will happen is integration will be non-existent and cost will be completely crazy. So you do have to try to, I do believe you have to kind of do a bit of both.
Let me get
But why don't you stop telling, and why don't we start attracting? So if I'm a CIO...
I didn't say...
No, I think you're right, you're right.
So why do I tell them, the only thing I'm going to invent in this whole company is one integration platform. I'm going to wander around and say, you don't have to come with me. I offer you DR, good pricing, as you say, good volume, all that sort of stuff, good security, but you don't have to come with me. By and large, they will vote with their feet. But we spend around saying, no, I need to combine your platforms, and here's all my government rules why it's going to be difficult to do so. But actually, we only have one vehicle, it's the integration
Let me
bit.
bring Sam in here. So Sam, do you let go? Or to Phil's point, do you make it more attractive for people to come to you? And do you see a challenge if you was to just let it go?
Well, I obviously see it from the outside. So, the digital transformation projects I've been involved with, the very large ones, it's usually not the IT guy who's leading. And I often ask, where's the IT guy? And they go, shh.
He hasn't got an attractive option.
And I agree with Phil. I think, subject matter experts, you need to be involved. But, realistically, the market is, it's usually the marketing guy, the sales guy, some other guy who's actually leading these projects. And, if this from out, I don't obviously have any sort of slant on this in the sense that I'm not an IT director or a marketing guy. I just see it as an independent. I sort of see it from the outside, see that it's a team effort. And I think if you don't mind me saying, I think there's a challenge for the CIOs and ITs as people sort of see them as sort of defending the thing as opposed to being collaborative and helping the business sort of develop. And that's the reason I think presentationally they think, oh, let's just not talk to the IT guys, or they're going to cause a lot of trouble in here. So you need to work with the team here rather than sort of say, put your stake in the ground. So that's just...
Well, thanks for your outside in, that's a good thing. I just come to, there's a question over here a few minutes ago.
Actually, just to support this gentleman, I've epically failed a complete digital transformation project.
You come here for therapy.
I know. Anyone wants to buy me a drink after?
As long as it's Bacardi.
We started really well. We wrote a business case at board level, and we got IT involved from the very outset. It wasn't until our ERP system was tested towards the end that we realised that all of the risk that we thought we'd mitigated ended up in a massive car crash. So we've actually gone back to the drawing board and have got to invest about 40 million quid in fixing it over a 5-year period.
And how do you square maybe a 4 or 5 year programme for back office or core with the demands of chief marketing officer that wants something in a few weeks?
At that point, the VC getting involved because there's a significant amount of money and they call the shots.
Well, hopefully we can give some quick therapy there.
Yeah, but actually I've gone to a smaller company now and we've done a digital transformation for sales and marketing and we've built it around the client journey, not from business to business but business to consumer, and it's made a huge difference to the value of our brand and the reaction has been absolutely astounding. So it was a 9-month project that went live at the beginning of last month and the results have been unbelievable. So I would recommend to Phil, who I've not met before, but I am a customer of Specsavers, that he creates a steering group and maybe encourages someone to write a business case and look to improve their customer data.
I'm not sure whether to turn that into a question to Phil or not.
It's a Specsavers.
360 feature. A question for the gentleman in the front here.
So I think, well, first let me do an observation. I think if you go around every company and say, what does the term digital mean to you? I think everybody will say something differently because I think we're a bit mixed up, right? And actually, you sort of think, actually, well, it's just another terminology for when we said e-business and e-commerce 10 years ago and stuff like that. So I think the difference here is that let's call it the generations have changed in terms of how they interact together, and that's the big disruptor. So for me, digital firstly is simply putting the customer first, and it's how you can get to that customer, how you can interact with that customer, how you can service that customer, and then everything else filters through behind it. And I guess the other thing I would say is I think organisationally you have to be into a brokering situation, but you have to do that with the people who own the data as well, because data and digital have to go hand in hand. And I guess the question is, where have you seen that working really well, or where have you seen it working really badly?
Phil, start with you and work down.
So let me just pick up on the ERP thing as well at the same time. So look, many people say to me, digital and agile, everything but the ERP or core systems. Or shall we stop buying from Oracle and SAP for a year? And then they might make them so we can run them out in a digital, agile way. All the time we keep buying their systems and keep trying to implement these huge waterfall systems, then don't be surprised when they keep pushing them out in the way they're doing, not in a packaging way, in an actual solution way. So to get to your point around data in particular, I did go to a board meeting recently and say that there's no one really owning data. I don't own it as a CIO because in the old days IT used to own data, that's the wrong, we own the transit of it, the securitization of it, but not the actual data itself. Everyone said, no, I own the data, said the marketing guy. No, I said, I own the data, said the supply chain guy. Everyone, so it was clear, everybody owned it, but no one owned it. Mm-hmm. The single biggest asset we had. The assets are not our glasses, we think they're quite impressive, or our hearing aids, or our shops. The asset is owning the data. And so getting that realization is important. But IT often has to broker the conversation, but then CIOs become almost seduced by it and say, oh, actually, I think I've become the data king. No one else wants it, or they want their bit of it when they have it. It's quite a hard job to do. Digital and so on is totally reliant on good quality data being used and how it's mashed up. But at the end of the day, IT should perhaps take the lead on it, but never own it. But data is critical. If that's your question, I agree with you. Quite how you master it is more difficult, but that's very, very important.
Chris, thoughts on data, ownership, importance to a successful digital strategy?
Second half, the easy answer is yes, it's very important. The first question, I think, is ownership. Actually, I think it does fundamentally come back to this brokering thing. Where I've seen it work is when IT is really I think the best leadership profile for IT is kind of servant leadership. More sort of leadership from the back than leadership from the front. And I think that when you bring that and you kind of bring a very precise, specific conversation, I think it can work very, very well. I think when you try to have one of these big sort of board level, everyone stick their chest out, we own da-da-da-da-da, at the end it just turns into sort of a head smashing exercise where somebody's just trying to sort of arm wrestle the other guy. Fundamentally, if you can take that position of servant leadership towards your company, towards the customer, I think that helps a lot in the conversation.
Let me modify the question a little bit as we go along. All our companies do not have perfect data. So, to what extent would you take a risk with delivering digital? If you say data, it's absolutely critical to digital, you're going to take a risk, aren't you? Otherwise, you're never going to deliver a digital platform because the data's not perfect. It's never perfect.
No, but I think